These sophisticated Christmas DIYs are going to elevate your Christmas decor. We're going to do it on a budget by using easy to find Dollar Tree items as a base and give you ideas for sprucing up your space today. I'm Melissa. This is CraftCrumbs. Thank you for joining me. As you watch this video, you'll see that all of these Christmas DIYs are not only fast and easy, but have a stunning outcome. The final project in this video is a little more challenging, but probably not so for the seasoned crafter, so stick around and I'll show you that one at the very end. I picked up this Christmas tree rice paper from Etsy. I will link it down below for you. I'm applying Mod Podge to the surface of my Dollar Tree platter as well as the back of the rice paper. And this just gives me a little bit more workability, allows me to move the graphic around if I need to. I'm going to lay the rice paper down and smooth it out with my fingers. And then using a 6-inch flexible ruler and an X-Acto knife, I'm going to remove the excess paper. This is where the flexible ruler comes in handy. It's just fitting inside that little nook and allowing me to get a straight edge there as well. I think I pulled away a little too hard here on the edge because I ripped the paper, but I'm just going to take a small piece of that and glue it back down to conceal the boo-boo. But I'm not going to fuss with it too much because this part is going to get covered up. I'm going to complete the rice paper application with a thin coat of Mod Podge over the top to protect it. For this next step, I'll be using this sequin ribbon from the Dollar Tree in the color gold. As you can see, there's also a silver option, so if you picked up the silver platter, then I would suggest you use the silver ribbon with the silver platter. I cut the ribbon down into strips of 2 lines each to frame the Christmas tree, and then cut just 1 line of the ribbon to frame the outer edge of the Christmas tree. If you like this as a catch-all tray, you can stop here, but I have a specific place in my living room where I want to hang this platter as wall art. So I'm going to flip it over to the back side, remove the price sticker, and add a 3M plate hanger to the back. I didn't trust the 3M long term, so I just grabbed whatever glue I had nearby, and this is just a small tube of jewelry glue, and E6000 would work for this as well. It is right in front of a window where the sun shines in and makes those little sequins glisten. Let me know in the comments what you think about this elegant Christmas DIY. For this next one, I'm using a cylinder vase from the Dollar Tree, or should I say vase, since this video is supposed to be fancy. I'm going to spray paint the entire outside of the vase with this flat white primer paint. Now this says primer, but in my experience, it works more like a paint. It actually does not function well as a primer at all. This gave it a nice matte finish and the perfect canvas for a rub-on transfer. I hope those of you who are returning, thank you by the way, are not tired of these particular transfers, but they're just so beautiful and there are so many that I want to use them in every project. If you haven't seen them before, I'll link them down below for you because these are definitely a hit in the craft room. I'm using the tool that came with the transfers to apply them, and I'm just going a little bit at a time, and I'm rubbing it there, and when I start to feel that section lose tension, I know that I can pull it back and I start on the next section. And I just do that until the entire transfer is down and I can pull that film back. Here I'm just using that same piece of film to varnish it onto the surface. This next step is what really makes this design stand out. I'm going to mark off the top about a ½ inch down all the way around so that I can paint that upper lip of the vase. I'm going to do that in the color Light Avocado by DecoArt. Here's where I make a stunning admission. I love these transfers so much that I took it into Hobby Lobby with me and bought several little bottles of paint that match the colors in the transfers. So you can trust me when I tell you that the Light Avocado really goes well with this particular transfer and brings out those green shades in that graphic. I'm going to repeat this process on the bottom, but this time I'm going to take that avocado color paint all the way to the underside of the vase. To finish this off, I wait for it to completely dry and then go in with a coat of Rust-Oleum matte finish top coat. When doing this, you want to keep your distance. Stay 10 to 12 inches away from the project when spraying, and this is going to protect that rub-on transfer from bubbling up on you. Let me know in the comments what you think about this stunning Christmas DIY. Next up is this fancy schmancy ice bucket, I think that's what it is, found in the party section at Dollar Tree. It's not going to look like this when we're done. I hope that you're noticing a trend in this video, on this channel actually, where we spend just a few dollars, I'm talking $2 or $3, and create stunning home decor you can be proud to display or give as a gift. Enough of my rambling, we're going to break out this beautiful pack of pine tree stencils and a few different shades of green acrylic paint. And circle this ice bucket with the pine trees in different shapes, sizes, and colors. Some of the trees that I put on here will be standing straight up like a board, while the others will be slightly slanted. So that's what you see me doing with this first one. It's a tree that's kind of leaning a little bit to one side because that's how trees grow in nature, right? You may have noticed that I started off using stencil adhesive but then stopped. That's because it was putting a residue on the parts of the ice bucket that I didn't like, and I was spending time cleaning that off. You really don't need stencil adhesive, even though it's a round surface. Just hold it in place so it doesn't move and shift, and then as you're pouncing with your little paint pouncer, you're applying enough pressure to where you're going straight down and it's not going to seep under those edges. Depending on how you want to use this ice bucket, you may be able to stop with the painting right here. I am going to use white acrylic paint on the inside of the ice bucket so that I can give it a nice snowy background and cover the stems that I'm going to put in here later. I'm pouring a little bit of white acrylic paint inside the bucket at a time and applying it with a pouncer to get full coverage. Okay, so this next step I make more difficult than it has to be. I intended to use my metallic gold paint marker to do this step, but I actually ran out from the project that you're going to see last in this video. So just to make concessions, I'm using a fine tip paintbrush and applying this acrylic gold paint around the edges of some of the trees. And then on the other trees, which is probably every other tree, I made tiny dots to make it look like glistening lights. Applying it with the fine tip brush wasn't terrible, but I knew that I could have better results using a paint marker, so just keep that in mind if you want to recreate this. I took that same gold paint up around that scalloped edge to give it a finished look, and then off camera sprayed the entire piece to seal in that paint job. Off camera, I made this little greenery arrangement, and I'll add in some poinsettias here at the end that you'll see, but I did this off camera because frankly I struggled. I'm not a florist by any means, so I just piddled with it until it looked the way I wanted it to. And now I'm just going to pop that on the inside of the ice bucket. Now I know that this may not be for everyone, but wow, look how this turned out. This ice bucket, repurposed as a planter pot, is gorgeous, but you could literally use it as an ice bucket or for so many other things. Fill it with individually wrapped candy, fill it with K-cups, fill it with whatever your heart desires. And let me know in the comments what you think about this one. This DIY may be a little more challenging for some, but I urge you to stick around because even if you've never done it, you probably have wanted to, and if you think you can't do it, I'm here to tell you that you can. I'm using 2 of these wood cutouts in the shape of a Christmas tree from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to make some cuts in the wood, and to make sure that I do it accurately, because I only have 2 of these, there's no room for mistakes, I'm going to take 2 pieces of scrapbook paper that I know I'll never use for anything else and make a template. I'm cutting out 2 of these templates, finding the center, and marking it with a Sharpie. One of the trees will have a cut from the top going down to the center, while the other will have a cut going from the bottom up to the center. Once I have the slits cut in the paper, which by the way, the slits are the same width as the wood is thick. I'm going to lay the template on top of our Christmas tree and use my Sharpie to transfer that mark onto the wood. And I'm going to do that for each tree. I made sure that I had a very sharp blade in my X-Acto knife, and now I'm going to cut where those lines are. The 2 pieces of wood will join together using these slits, so you want to be careful, first, not to cut yourself, and second, to make sure that those slits are the same width, or as close as you can get it, to the actual width of the Christmas tree itself. When you're done cutting, give it a test fit and make sure everything comes together nicely. And then pull them apart again. We're creating a 3-dimensional centerpiece for the dining room table. And the hardest part of this DIY is behind us. I'm going to apply some scrapbook paper here, but I first want to point out that you see numbers on the wood, and that's because I originally thought that I was going to do 8 different designs and numbered the wood so I could get them to correspond in the way I wanted them to, but changed my mind and I'm going to do just 4 different paper designs. I'm using 12 by 12 sheets from the Holiday Pines pack that I picked up at Michael's. Using, once again, the tree as a template, I'm going to cut the tree shape out on each one of those pieces of paper. I'm going to fold them in half to find the center and then cut each piece in half. You must cut them in half so that when you slide one tree over the other, it doesn't get caught up on the paper and make it crinkly and wrinkly. So I'm going to Mod Podge these down one at a time, and I'm going to avoid that slit there in the middle. I chose not to use the iron-on method for the paper on this one because the wood is so thin that I was afraid it was going to warp it. So to keep the edges of the paper from curling up before it dries, I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper between the 2 trees and then just clamp down the ends and let it dry. Coming back later, I added a little contrast around the edges with a black marker, and then I'm going to go around the actual outside edge with my metallic gold paint marker. I contemplated what to put on the top of the tree and found this star that I thrifted recently at Goodwill in a pack of a lot of different Christmas cutouts. And it was already yellow, so I'm going to just put that at the top and embellish it with a little bit of holly. In my family, we always have a small but fun centerpiece. We like them small because, frankly, if they're huge, you can't even see who you're sitting across from. So this is perfect for the space that we're trying to fill. Until the big day, I'm displaying this in a corner of my kitchen counter to give it a little light and happiness there. And paired with a couple of mugs and this little sleigh, which I'm probably going to put some sugar packets in, this will be a nice place to just fill up your coffee cup in the morning. Aside from using it as a centerpiece, it can just be used as a general piece of Christmas decor or as a backdrop to a contrasting piece of decor like a Christmas knickknack, for example. Here's a look back at what we created today, and I am so excited to hear which of these projects is your favorite. Guys, this may be my last Christmas DIY video of 2024. I'm gonna put a poll on my community page to get an idea of what you would like to see next, so please head on over there at some point in the near future and vote on what you would like to see next. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, comment down below. Don't forget to comment, it's super important and really helps my channel. I will see you very soon with a winter DIY video, but until then, don't forget to craft what you love.